for a good whole day. From, I would say, even 24 to 48 hours that your metabolism isn't functioning ideally. And that's why when I cut out the alcohol, my metabolism went back to when I was in my 20s. And I always had a good metabolism, but it got even, I go, holy hell, my metabolism has gotten much improved because I would do the 2 bottles of wine on Fridays. So, and even though I would do the fasting, my fasting wasn't getting the effects that it normally would have had because the alcohol and consuming, that's a lot of alcohol too, even though it doesn't really affect me, like as far as like being drunk, it didn't give me a nice little buzz, but I can consume a decent amount of alcohol on that. And I always have since I was younger. And, which is one of the reasons why I switched to wine, to try to prevent that as much as possible and consume it with a bunch of water and make it last. But since I've cut that out, it's the metabolism has greatly increased. So you will get better results not drinking all the time on it. But I've never heard of any issues. I'm not a doctor. I never had any issues. It's all natural ingredients that you would have in food that are in shell shock anyways. And a lot of the ingredients increase your metabolism. The matcha green tea, the green coffee bean, all that, the L-carnitine, the apple cider vinegar, so the cool cayenne pepper with the ginger and the cayenne. The things in it are going to increase your metabolism, but you don't want to be consuming a massive amount of alcohol if your goal is to lose as much body fat as possible. I don't know who the biggest drinker was in WWE. Off the top of, and Axeman doesn't drink. Curtis Axel doesn't drink anymore. He used to be able to drink a lot. Axeman, Curtis Axel, we got drunk one time during WrestleMania weekend in New Orleans. We went down to Bourbon Street, us and some of the guys, and a lot of the fans were out. This was before it got all the fans, because we get there early in the week, so fans were there, but not like they were going to be in the coming days. And so that's why we went out too, because we're not going to go get messed up and go get drunk prior to WrestleMania a day or two before. But this was like maybe 4 days probably before, even 5 maybe. And there were fans out though, and fans started buying us shots and drinks everywhere we went, and we just ran with it. Oh, we had a great time. But man, he can go toe to toe with anybody. Cena was always able to drink a lot, and there was a time we did a bowling. It was me and R-Truth versus Santino, or me and Santino versus John Cena and Truth. It was essentially, I can't remember what side the teams were, but it was me and somebody against Cena and the other on that. So me, Santino, Truth, and Cena, and it was after the tribute to the troops. We had to do a bowling alley appearance, and we were like, it was the end of the day. It was our last appearance for the thing, and we had the WWE staff with us. None of us were driving, and everyone, and they had, like, somebody said, they go, do they have alcohol? It was probably Cena. He goes, do they have alcohol are they serving alcohol? And then it somehow turned into a friendly rivalry game between me and Cena, and then we teamed up, we did teams. And then it turned into like every frame, whoever lost each frame had to drink like a shot or something. And so like alcohol started going down pretty damn quickly. All the fans are watching us just drink and have a good time. We had WWE personnel and security, and now and then nobody was filming. Nobody had, even though cameras, but it wasn't like now on social media. Whereas if you did something like that now, people may like filming people drinking and having a good time, and with that, man, I tell you, that was one of the most fun things I did with WWE. And Cena can drink a lot. I was wasted. We got done, one of the WWE, one of the women helped get me back to my hotel room. Cena went back to his bus. Truth and Santino got back to their hotel rooms. And I don't know how much they went. I know me and Cena did quite a bit of alcohol. I'm very competitive. And at that time, me and him were head to head on everything. This is when me and him were on the magazine together. Merch sales were right there. I made a comment to him. I'm shit talking during the game about passing him in merch, which he probably didn't like. And it's all in good fun. I love friendly competition because it makes me work harder as well. And I think it's a testament when you have somebody that can drive and make you push, and with that, right? And I just know the next day I got up and went and worked out, and I'd heard from Ted DiBiase was supposed to work out with Cena that morning, and I guess Cena was one of the only. He goes, he was just drunk. I don't know if Cena drank more. He very possibly could have drank more on his bus because he always had the moonshine. and everything, but he didn't make it to the gym that morning. And I always like, oh, that's right, the big guy. But he could drink, and I have a feeling he probably had more. That if I would have went and did that, I probably wouldn't have gotten up in the morning either. So, but that guy, he can drink as well. He didn't. I don't know how much Cena drinks now, but he was always able to go. How do wrestlers not get bloated after drinking so much? Well, I'll tell you, RT, that's a great question. One, you got to remember, we're not doing this every single night. But when you're on the road, and I would always pick a drinking night, I would drink typically once a week. And every once in a while, maybe even twice, have some beers. Me and Ziggler always would go to a Hooters after a SmackDown. That was a normal thing. Not every week, but a lot of weeks. If we had hotels or something near each other, we'd go swing by a Hooters, and we'd get some wings and a salad and some beers. And nothing crazy, just have 2 or 3 tall boys over the course of hours of just sitting and laughing. And then you go to your hotels, you fly back home the next morning and see each other the next week. I miss moments like that. A lot of fun. But one of the tricks that I would do is go to the sauna the next morning. I would drink a lot of water. I would get a good sauna session in. I would try to get at least 20, 30 minutes and try to sweat out as much of that the toxins and that poison is what it is. But rehydrate like crazy. Get some electrolytes in. And there was actually a small period during that on a European tour. I've talked about this where I drank one European tour pretty heavily. We went out. It was me and Cena were main eventing the whole thing, doing tables matches, and it was my birthday week, and we were over in the UK. I just drank. I you know what, I'm gonna just drink for one tour, and I never did it on another tour like that because they always had alcohol on the buses, and things were great. Life was great. Going out there, killing it every night, sauna every day. But in China, we were in China, and I wasn't getting enough electrolytes, and my body went into a massive cramp. And I went to go train legs before the show, and only Cena showed up in the gym when I was there. And I remember I had to, he had just gotten there. I'm doing legs, and I went to go do hamstring curls on one of the pieces of equipment they had. I went to do one set. I couldn't even get through one set. My legs started locking up, and usually just your hamstrings. That would always be the muscle if my electrolytes are low, that my hamstrings, I tell you, my whole body. My hamstrings went, my quads went, my back started cramping, everything. And I literally just trying to look like I'm not spazzing. It's like having this huge spasm attack in the gym. And I went back down and had the driver take me back to the hotel. And then I drank, I got some bananas because I had to go wrestle that night. And I chalked it up. That's when I realized I had electrolyte deficiency also. And it wasn't a water, not because I always drink a ton of water, but my electrolytes were low. And that was one of the big things with my Finish It BCAAs that I'm having it right now, that we put all the electrolytes in there because electrolytes make the water you drink wetter, and it makes the water you drink more efficient in your body, where you don't actually have to drink as much water because but when you're doing things like doing the sauna, sweating a lot, drinking, things that can dehydrate you, you're depleting your electrolytes with that, and you got to replenish those. And that's where I figured that out. And I always share you guys little backstories of how I came up with a lot of the different supplements, and that's the backstory on that with that particular one. And it was after that cramping session in China that I knew I had to make some adjustments, and also not drink for an entire tour, hard liquor. You're younger, it was a good time, no harm done. I always never missed a workout. I'm never drunk during a day of a show, always at night after, so. But yeah, you got to do some things to get rid of that bloat. Palmer, you actually, by telling me that, brother, you're actually spamming my chat. We're going to shell shock you out of here. Thank you for coming in. I have the raspberry lemonade, Finish It BCAAs, and the cotton candy. I'm drinking the raspberry lemonade right now. I love that you guys know when the shell shocks are coming. The warning, shell shock activated. Mag Life, I'm very glad you got to meet Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest. I hope you had a very good experience with them. I love barbecue. I love to grill. I haven't done it in quite some time. I've got the fire pit out back with a grilling top that I could just throw some charcoals, and I've got all the grilling tools. And I used to grill out there every week. I haven't grilled 'cause after I went vegan and vegetarian vegan, and then I'm back to eating the meat and chicken in smaller amounts. Still a lot of plant-based foods in my diet. I just haven't. And then Memorial Day actually was planning on grilling, and then unfortunately everything was secret happened on Memorial Day, and then I had to put her to sleep at night. So, you know, that kind of that, and knowing that that day we figured out kind of in the early afternoon that was probably going to be her last day, unfortunately. And I appreciate all the love and support for her. I talked to my dad again, and my dad's been very sad, and because she's been with him for the last 11 years, and then the other dog Daisy for the last 6, 5.5 or 6 with Daisy. They were together, and prior to that it was Shira in secret together, and then before that it was Roxy and Shira. I'm very big on keeping my dogs. I've talked about this. I like to have from my childhood dogs, from Pebbles and Bam Bam, our first 2 dogs when I was a kid. All of our dogs are connected in the sense of when I got Pebbles and Bam Bam, and then we got Roxy. Roxy, I found on my doorstep, a little baby puppy, could barely walk, like she was falling over, and somebody, I don't know how she got there. I almost stepped on her on my way to school, going out the door, and I got her and I put her in a hamper with stuff, with food and water. I didn't tell anyone. I just put her in my room. She pissed and shit all over herself when I was gone. All the food was all over the place. She was so small she couldn't get out. It was one of those big round hamper bins with the rope handles on the side. And I ran home before football practice, got her all cleaned up, and put her back in. And I told my mom, I think, came home from work, and I told her before I went to football, please just watch her. I'll explain when I get back. And then went to football, came back, and we got to keep her. So then we had Roxy with that, and then unfortunately had to put Pebbles and Bam Bam down in old age with that. But we had Roxy, and then I got chosen for WWE for Tough Enough, and I knew this was ever before I was ever picked. I just believed, I'm going to do this. This is all I've ever wanted. I'm going to make it. And so I went and I dropped out of college, my classes, to get my money back for the credit, the semester. There was like a day left to do it. I had to do it. I'm going to go make it. I'm going to get a contract one way or the other. And I went and adopted Shira at the Animal Foundation here in North Vegas at the time. And I didn't go to school that day. I went and adopted her. My dad was, at the time, he was furious because he found out that I essentially dropping out of school to go be a WWE superstar, and hadn't even been picked yet. But I was so confident that I was probably going to be moving away, that I've always just had known and had a confidence in myself that when I put my mind to something, I could do it. And I went and adopted Shira. So then Shira and Roxy were together while I was away in developmental and in working my way up the ranks to make it in WWE. Finally get to move home after making it with that. Roxy unfortunately passes away very early on into me getting into WWE as Ryback, where she had the tumor that had ruptured internally and was bleeding inside, and her stomach was swelling. That night, she waited for me to get off the road, and she slept with me one last night, Shira and Roxy, and I had to get up and take her in with my father in the morning when my day and a half home, and they advised that there was no saving her most likely, and we needed to make a decision in her best interest and put Roxy down. And then secret was the neighbors next door, and my dad had said, a guy had said that there was a really cute little pit bull back there and was probably being abused, and they had her living in the desert heat back there in Vegas, which it gets very hot. And they had all this construction. There might have been some drugs involved with the people of the house, and she wasn't in a good place. And I looked over the wall when I came to see Shira, when on my day off that I usually spend the night over there. And I looked over the wall and saw this beautiful little dog. I whistled. She came crawling out of all this garbage and construction trash and shit. And I just go, there's no way I can let this dog just keep living. Like, it was so hot out. And I knew dogs can't survive. And that's why she was under that, trying to stay cool. And I went to the fence and I posted that video of her at the fence. That was my first interaction with her. And then I was able to get her. I told you, by the 8x10s, and they gave me the dog. No issues. with it, and that's how we had Secret with it. So and then Sophie and Little Guy and them have been around all of them at the various points of having, like, I try to just connect the dogs, you know what I mean, so that like their personalities kind of carry on from my childhood. And but my dad, I talked to him, and the Henderson Animal the Henderson Animal Shelter. They have a dog. Our first child dog was Pebbles, which was a black lab. There was this beautiful dog. She's white. It's a terrier. It's a mix. She's about 48 pounds, about the size, a little smaller than my dad's other dog, but just a beautiful, beautiful dog named Pebbles. And as soon as I saw her, I go, oh, my dad would love her, and my dad loves her. And so I'm hoping to maybe go down with him Saturday to go with his other dog Daisy. Let them go play in the yard there together. They have like a thing for dogs before you get them to make sure that they're going to be okay. Which hopefully there'll be no issues with that. And because my dad's lonely, he spends all that time, and he's retired. He just golfs a few days, 2-3 days a week, and he spends a lot of time with those dogs. He takes them for car rides, takes them for walks, and now Secret's gone, and it's an empty void with that. And I've always found you never replace the love for that dog, but you give love to a new dog and create new memories. And so I'm hoping he seems like she's 3 years old. He doesn't want a puppy. He wants a dog that's already past the puppy phase, anywhere from like 3 to 6, so it's at least closer to Daisy's age. My dad's older. You got to remember, 274 with that, and he's still active and moving well. But I think it will hopefully be able to go down and go get her, and so Daisy's not alone, because right when a dog, and it's hard for them, and when they're used to being around another dog for 5-6 years, and then they're gone. And I've always done that, and because it's always helped, and I think it helps shift a negative experience into a positive, because once you go into that loving state, and then like even now, like Secret, like even it's just from the time it happened. Yesterday was very sad. The day before was very sad. The night was very sad, and today it's happier, because it's just a more peaceful, remembering her in a more happier, peaceful place, knowing that she's not in pain anymore. And but it does help, and I always tell people that lose pets, and everyone's different. People need time to grieve and things, but I've been through this enough to where it's like it creates an opportunity to go get a new pet and to give a loving home to a new animal. So. Good to see all of you guys. Oh, no, big guy's fine. Big guy doesn't need a shoulder to cry on, guys. I'm a big boy. We're all right on that. I'm so sorry, Tim, about your dog, and it's the hardest decision. It's tough sometimes to know when that time is, and that's like Secret. And I knew with everything, she was having difficulty walking with her legs, and she could still move. She still was happy, and she gave us a hope spot that she was going to come back, and she did. And then it just reversed really quickly. And but that's them fighting, trying to stay, and because they love us as much as we love them, and it. But when her breathing started, it was a pretty easy decision, and that's when my dad. That's why I had her, because I know the thing. It was, and it started, stopped, and then it started and kept coming more and more frequent, and it was essentially we let her go the first day when it started, to the night, had one more night with her, and then that next day. Was hoping that maybe it was just something with how much she ate that day. It wasn't, and her normal breathing was very shallow. Her stomach was protruding in and out, even when she was calm. Not like it was when she was having these breathing attacks. But then that too in the vet, and taking her in and talking to them, and them just essentially just and you're doing the right thing. There's no. This is whatever's going on and with her age and with what the injuries, and it's best to let them go before, like the worst thing to do would be to let her stay another night. And in the middle of the night, she has a breathing attack and dies, right? And is choking. Like I can't even fathom. So that's why I'm grateful that I at least we recognized it right away, and we didn't let her suffer anything. We got to spend. Everyone got to say their goodbyes, and she was ready. And it sucks, but it's she's not in pain anymore, and now her memory can live forever. And I post all that stuff on social media, and there was even a person on Twitter, and I put it on my Twitter, a guy, and it's nobody. There's just somebody with one follower, and they leave a really shitty comment saying, "How dare you make videos of when your dog is dying?" And it's like, look, we make those videos so they live forever and go back, and I got videos, and I'm so grateful that I've done that with my dogs, and I wish I was able to do it with my childhood dogs. I miss them all the time and wish that I had footage of them outside of more of the pictures with everything to go back and relive those memories of that time period, right? With that, and she wasn't in there like suffering in the sense of, we went through the thing. I spent a lot of time with her in there, and she was very calm, and she wasn't having any breathing attacks. And they get her ready with everything to put the medications in to put her to sleep first, and to stop her heart, and then I forget what the final medication they do is. Probably just to assure everything, and but that process, we're in there spending time with her before we're going to do that. And so I got a lot of video for us to have to remember, and I post a small little clip that I want to post, and that will live forever. And I think it's a good idea for people to do that. And I explained it on the tweet to the person, and I blocked them, and it is what it is. And then everybody else wants to go and tell them what they think of that person, which they are, and that's great. I think then that person will get a dose of their own medicine, of saying things that you shouldn't be saying to people, and that you have no understanding of with that. And but it's good to have stuff, because too, what if something happened to my phone and I lost images? It's good to have them posted on the other social media accounts that you can go back and grab them from if something were to ever happen, right? Just whatever reason, just say, oh, everything, I lost everything. So that's why, another than post them on everything, but I just explained it to them, and then boom, blocked and gone. You don't exist to me. So good to see you guys. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, but that's, people don't even think sometimes of that stuff, and they just want to assume the worst. Like, how dare you? It's not like we're just filming my dog suffering and die. It's to let that memory live forever that I never want to forget. And I go back and look at the other dog, Shira, when I was in there, and I wish Roxy, and we've got video and we've got a lot of photos of Roxy, but I wish I would have. And Roxy, I wish, but hers was a more urgent condition. Her stomach was very protruded, filling with blood with that. But I wish I would have got something at home, just saying goodbye to her before taking her in. But even then, cell phones, I had a cell phone, but it wasn't, it didn't have the social media, so it didn't register to do that. Whereas with Shira and now with Secret, I just think it's a good idea, because I'll never forget that Memorial Day and those final weeks with her, And it's cool when you're older, you look back and you remember time periods, right? Of like, that will trigger the memory of a lot of other things, of looking back at that from that period. I did not get to catch the AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view. I've seen some highlights from it with everything. Yep, absolutely, Mag Life. It is to honor them. And also, too, I'm a public figure, and I talk about my dogs all the time. A lot of people ask, and on my feeding time or here the Ryback show, you guys are aware of everything going on. And so I think in all the Feed Me More Nutrition, the email and text message subscribers, it's essentially I've shared that information. If I'm not talking about it, then I want to keep it private, right? But I've chosen to share that and put that information out there. So it's just giving everybody an update on what's going on, because people ask, like, what's going on? What's going on? It's like people, if somebody I see randomly, there was a comment today on TikTok, whatever happened to Sunny? I used to have Sunny all over my social media. Unfortunately, Sunny was my ex-girlfriend's dog, but we just talked the other day. I told her about Secret. We still remain in good good standing with each other on things. And Sonny's getting old, and she's worried because he's getting a lot older now, and he has some issues, but he's still in good health. He's still going strong. And and I just let the person know that, hey, that was my ex-girlfriend's dog. He's getting older, but he's doing well. Because people, you see something and then you don't see it, and so you're curious on that, and it's just sharing that information, and I think it's a good thing too. And I think it's good too to show, like, some people go, they do, I never thought, I'd ever like see you cry or anything. It's like, we're all human with all of that, and I think it's good to show people, because I think we all, and me at different times, we've all struggled with communication. And I think we sometimes we're born into whatever ideas we think of, like, there's like, oh, if you're a man, you can't cry, or different things. And like, it's silly. Now, it's one thing if you're just crying about everything. Like, if I'm on here and like, if I'm just crying every episode over stupid, like crying over, the outrage of Bud Light, and I'm have tears going down my face. You're like, Jesus Christ, Ryback's a little overly emotional. Might need to go get that estrogen checked. Right? Okay. But like, for real life things and the love of a dog, we all understand that with that. And it's I think it's good to share that stuff if we choose to want to share that, to show people, because a lot of times too, and this is one of the reasons doing all my stuff, so many wrestling fans and people can't look past wrestling characters. And I shove that shit in their face. I go, when I'm on screen and the camera's on and it's go time, I'm a killer on that. But I'm also could be funny. I could be emotional. I could be dramatic. I could do I have a wide range of physical acting abilities that I could tap into at any given time, which is why I decided when going into all this social media stuff, I'm just going to be me. I don't need to try to I could just be on here and talking in a little deeper, heavier voice at all times, and just trying to keep an image of a tough guy at all times to everybody. And right, it'd be very easy to do that. It'd also be really fucking boring and stupid. And it's bullshit. It's fake with it. But there's different emotions for different times. And I don't think anybody ever doubts when you guys see me get angry on here. Is there anybody that ever questions me when I get angry on here, and that when there's not an attitude and an energy shift? And that's the beauty of being able to know who you are and just be comfortable with who you are. And that's just part of that. I'd never had anything, and very rarely do I ever cry. It's a very rare thing. I'll tell you the times I have cried at the loss of my pets, every single time. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And it's, because it's such a strong love and people can relate to that. But I think it's important to show that at times now and different that so people can see that, hey, these people are real human beings. Because even though you guys, the people that watch routinely, so many wrestling fans cannot understand that we're actually people. A lot of people, this is why I never looked at celebrities. Everyone's a person. And there's just difference in mindset and work ethic. And that's all that it is with that. But people think that if you're famous or a celebrity or people know you from TV or you have money or something, that you're like, you don't eat shit and piss and have emotions like everybody else. It's the most fucking silliest thing that I've ever think. And I told you guys that when I deal with people, I remember WWE, when I first started seeing that, how people view people on TV differently. They're like, where's your singlet? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm in the gym or I'm in the airport. You think I fucking wear the singlet everywhere? But they had identified, like, that was the identity. That they thought Ryback was this machine from the future destroying everybody that wore a singlet at all times with that. It's in the people, I tell you, the fucking weirdo bathroom creeps that see you pissing in the gym. They're like, you piss? You shit? I swear to God, it's happened more times than I'm comfortable even talking about with it. Fucking weirdos out there that just can't. Yeah, bro, I do. Cool. Good talk. See you out there next to the Smith machine in 10 minutes. I also walk and I lift weights like everybody else. God. Yeah, ACW Online Wrestling Fan says wrestling fans are kind of weird compared to other sporting events. Some of them think the chants would never happen at a baseball. Some of the things they chant would never happen at a baseball or football game. Yeah, and there's weird fans all over the place. There's marks in all sports and entertainment, MMA, and there's good fans and great people, normal people with common sense and logic that just love and appreciate the efforts of the people that entertain them. And then you've got the fucking weirdos in all areas. But the wrestling weirdos are definitely, I do agree, I think they're a step above those marks and the obsessed. It's like I was just watching on yesterday the Hogan Gawker thing with that fat fuck Bubba, the whatever the fuck his name is, the guy that did that shit to Hogan with that when he the deal with his wife and recorded him without his knowing. This is why I'm not friends with people that obsess over wrestling. You can't be, because they don't. That's the kind of shit that they do, and they're always looking for information. I could spot it out pretty quickly with that, and they look for things, or they'll save phone calls, they'll save text messages. They're looking for things to try to get you eventually, or to share with you'll never believe, because they're super insecure, and they go tell their other Mark friends, you'll never believe fucking talking to Ryback. Look at and then they go and share. Like, so that's why I have nothing to do with people that are big wrestling fans. It's a no, because they're fucking mentally, they're just off. And if you know, you know, and if you don't, you're probably one of them. Yep, it is. A lot of people, Mike, people are like superheroes, people that they watch, and wrestling can blur the lines on that more so than other things with that. But it's just people. This is where it's the inability of the fan or the mark to not understand that they're human, and the difference between them is and everybody else is their mindset and work ethic. That is the difference between all humans. Because physically, we are all somewhat comparable physically, and we all have different genetic traits and features with that. But the difference in life between the people you see doing the things they want to be doing and the people that are not doing what they want to be doing is the mindset and the work ethic on that. And those are two big key factors with that. And that I try to explain that whenever I meet somebody and they get like starstruck because it happened and they're fucking shaking uncontrollably and they go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm talking to Ryback. And I literally will just calm the situation down. I go, brother, I'm just a fucking person like you. And I literally will talk to them until they understand that. And I go, the difference, I work really hard. I know what I want to do. I set goals for myself and I keep a positive mindset. And I try to help them to where they view, because that's not going to help them be more successful because they don't think highly enough of themselves. They don't realize the power that they have in them if they can get these things in order, that people that are doing the things they want to do. And I always try to share that with like younger people or people that when they start acting like that. And I try to get that across to them as quickly as possible. And it's, because I feel like that's given them a chance at least to view life in a lot better of a way than to look at people like they're created better. Nobody's created better. It's just they have better information in their brains and they know how to use it better, and they have a work ethic and they have a drive and a motivation that's not as common. Good to see all of you guys. Welcome to the Ryback Show. Taking a look at your questions here, guys. Yeah, hey, William Maine, good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the Ryback Show. He says, Sup, Ren, CM Punk is way better than you. I appreciate your opinion. Yeah, King goes, damn, Ryback, you breathe air, just like me. Yeah. It's good ass oxygen over here, brother. Somebody goes, how much money did you made? Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. We'll go ahead and shell shock you. Can't even ask the goddamn question correctly. Big Eye, do you compare your body to Singlet of the Warrior? I don't even understand that question. Ironically, the question above that, the comment above that is there's a lot of mentally ill people in society. Khalid Adam, I believe maybe he's probably talking to you. Yep, nothing wrong with a man crying over something they love. I agree wholeheartedly. I got to do a new feeding time tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the feeding time. Somebody mentioned uh, 72 ounce or the 72 ounce steak. Have you tried that? Where's it, Brett? Where's the 72 ounce steak challenge? Is that in Vegas? And if so, where at? Yeah, ACW. I don't know. Yeah, I've never. I don't know what that's about. Saying to people that says I hate when people say that people that cry at funerals makes it about them. Not true. If you truly love that person, it can be hard to hold that emotion. And yeah, I think that it varies on your relationship with the person. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I've never experienced that or anybody. You know, I don't. I don't. Everyone handles grief differently, and it hits them harder depending on the relationship too. Crying is something you can't control for the most part. That if you really, when it sets in, the best thing to do is just to get it out with that. And it actually is very relieving, and it helps with your body processing. We live in a weird society with that, like where crying is almost, it can be viewed as by some as a weakness, but most of the toughest people in the world understand that it's not. So, as I said, I think it's one thing if you're crying over everything, but again, even that is can be, it's up to the individual and how passionate they are about a specific subject or thing that they're talking about, or person or thing. ACW, this is a good question on weightlifting or training. Walking with high intensity or running at low intensity for long term effect on the knees. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my dog. She was really old, and I found her on the couch. ACW, I'm very sorry to hear that, and that's what I know a girl on Instagram, and she's her dog. She loved her dog. She's like me, like she has she's with her dog. He was an English bulldog, and they had a beautiful relationship. Always posting him, and he was not that he was. I think I don't know if he was 8. He was 6, 7, or 8. He wasn't like at that period where he was healthy. Everything was fine, and I don't know if she was playing with him or there was something going on. And I had his heart ruptured like right there and died right in front of her. I want to say they were playing and it's just heart ruptured. English bulldogs can have health problems and different things. Can you imagine how traumatic that would be, especially to a young woman like that? Like that's I can't imagine. The pain and suffering. And I saw she grieved and posted, and I watched all the videos and the things, and I talked to her briefly prior to everything, and then. And she was nice enough to reach out when the things happened with Secret and all that. But at least I'm always grateful that I was in the position to be able to say goodbye properly, and because that's not something that you could take for granted. That's not something that just happens all the time. I've been blessed and lucky to be able to experience that, and I try to always remember that, because then that stuck in my head, and it's unfortunate you didn't get to say goodbye, but even with that, hopefully it was a peaceful thing, and they just fell asleep and never woke up, and at least though too you got to see them, and this is just how I would, at least you got to see them and say goodbye to them physically, even though they weren't alive, and that even I was glad when Secret I spent probably. I don't know if I was in there another 15, 20 minutes after she'd passed away and they left us alone. And it's a surreal experience when, their body is there and they're just lying there, and I'm looking at her and I'm touching her, and it's as if everything's normal, but it's not, So, but I'll tell you, the toughest thing for me is leaving them. And, we took her, and it happened around 5 p.m. that she around 5:10, in that vicinity, that she was put to sleep, and they closed at 6, and the pickup comes at 6 when they come and pick up the dogs that have been put to sleep for the day. And I was just asking a few questions about that, because I've always wondered, I always wonder, where do they take them? And I know they take them to the cremation for the dogs. I would love to go and actually see, and that's something I'll probably do. I really am very curious about that. I want to see how it's handled. and see. I don't want to watch anything. I just want to know where they go, how the process is done. I just know they say the ashes, they come back in a week, and you get the paw prints and the fur, and they do a great job with all that, and they always have all any vet that I've ever gone to with all that. But for me, the tough thing is leaving, and like when she's on the blanket lying there, and then the assistants of the doctor, the assistant, and they're just gonna pull her out. They pull her out on the blanket, and it's just looking at her. But I spent some time in there, 15, 20 minutes before at the end of all that. But it's like, she's just like in there. That's a lonely feeling with that. But, it's just that grieving, it turns into a happiness memory. And like, I'll feel really happy when we get her ashes and everything back. I'm going to go down to Walgreens today actually and go get a lot of pictures of Secret off my phone and go and print them out with some of the other dogs as well. Can you just plug your phone into Walgreens and get the photos? And I'm going to make some pictures things, and one for my dad, and I'm going to have one here. And so we could update some new photos with things and with all of that to hang in the house. Because I love to have that. And then put her ashes by Roxy and Shira, which she keeps in my old bedroom at the house in there on one of the shelves. And just to, and then, I'm sure I will take those over when the time comes for my father and all that. And it's just something, but I'll tell you, it makes me, like with Sophie and Little Guy, that's like I told you yesterday, that is, I don't even want to think about it with any of that. And 'cause I'm so attached to them, and with all my injuries and all this, I've spent the last 7 years with them, straight, and traveling here and there, but not, the first few years with the Indies, I was traveling on the weekends, but I've been home now for 4 years, pretty straight, solid through, outside of a thing here and there, and a couple trips to Colombia for a week. But it's tough. It's tough for all of us.